Hello everybody, a very warm welcome back to the MEC-TEC garage, or should I say a very cold warm welcome back to the MEC-TEC garage. It is a bit chilly out here today. As you can see, the Lotus is now out on the drive. I've nicked Mrs MEC-TEC's space and I am having a good old clear out in here. Now I've cleared most of the stuff out the roof. I've got Fiesta panels for my little Mark II Fiesta up there, and I've got 2 sets of wheels up there, and that is it. So you'll be pleased to know that the roof is basically cleared out apart from stuff that I want to keep. So it's hopefully going to carry on going like that. Now, today is going to be a cab video. A little bit of an incident in the cab earlier in the year. I was very embarrassed about it, so I never said anything about it. And I did a temporary repair on the bumper, a temporary repair on the front panel. To be honest with you, I can't remember exactly what happened to it because it was a long while ago. And that sounds a bit daft, but I've had a couple of things go wrong in the cab, and you know, it's been a bit of a year for things like that. So let me grab the camera, I'll show you the front of the cab, I'll show you the damage on it, and we've got some new bits to go on down here. Now unfortunately, I thought I'd be able to just bolt these on, but the front panel I've got does need painting, and the bumper I've got is actually navy blue, so that definitely needs painting because it's the wrong colour. So let me grab the camera, I'll show you the front of the cab, show you the damage, and then we're going to get on and get these prepped and painted and hopefully fitted on the cab, ready for the overhaul at the end of the month. Right, here we go. As you can see, the cab is in an absolute state. It was clean, but the driving along on the A roads has muddled it a bit. But anyway, we won't worry about that for the minute. As you can see, the bumper has been repaired here. That is just a lump of fiberglass that I stuck to the back of the bumper, and I've glued the bumper back together there. And that has been like that probably for about 4 or 5 months now, maybe a bit longer. And the front panel, as you can see, is pushed in there. It was in further than that. I've pulled that out, so it was a little bit of a prang on the front. It didn't damage the grille, luckily, so that is all good. So as you would have just as I just said in the garage, we have got a new front panel for it, a new front bumper for it. There's another bit of damage there that I just put some fiberglass behind to hold it all together to keep me on the road, keep everything legal, so there's no sharp edges and whatever else. We'll run back in the garage, I'll show you what we've got to replace these bits with, and then we'll start getting them prepped up. Right, here we go. This is the bumper we've got in the front panel. Now, weirdly enough, my old cab registration number was L008HDE. So it's only 1 letter away, or 1 digit different, I should say, from my original reg on my original cab, which is kind of strange. But as you can see, it is a navy blue colour, which I didn't notice in the pictures. It looked black, but when you look at it in the light compared to that front panel, you can see the difference there. One is black and one is very dark blue. So first thing we need to do is get all the bits stripped off of this bumper. Indicators out, fog lights out. That fog light's smashed anyway. That one's okay, so I'll have a spare one, so that's quite handy. Get the number plate off, obviously don't need that. We'll get it all prepped and rubbed down. And we've got some new cans of paint over here. Is this the right one? No, that's Panther Black, that's for something else. This one here, I've got a can there which is already sort of started using, but not much used on it. When we did the previous bumper repair on this one, I fiberglassed the corner of it back together and I hit a low bollard. And we've got a nice new can of black there, and we've got a can of the 2K lacquer as well. Now for Christmas, you'll be pleased to know that I got a new mask. So I've got a nice new 3M mask to wear to replace my Mankey old one that's been going for years. Probably should have been replaced a long time ago, but we've got that now too, so we'll obviously make sure we wear that, especially when we use that 2K lacquer. Right, let's start getting these rubbed down and prepped and get some jobs done. Rightio, with the bumper and the front panel now all rubbed down. It took a little while. There are obviously quite a few spots, especially on that front panel where it's had stone chips and things, and I want to put some primer over it, obviously where it's bare metal and stuff like that. So I'm going to go over the bumper in a few areas with a little bit of primer, just where it's thin, to obviously aid that in the black adhering properly. And then once that's, I'll do a couple of coats of that. Once that's dry, then I'm going to wet flat it with some probably 2000 grit or 1000 grit, one of the two, get it all nice and smooth, and then we can go in for some colour. So it's all going rather well. Let's carry on. Right, there we go. That is the first coat of primer on. The front panel is basically all primer. The bumper is more sort of patches where it's just gone through to the plastic in places. I'm going to let that dry, get a heater on it. I'll probably go over it again just on those patches, and obviously most of the front panel I'll probably go over again. Then I can flat it down, and I've got something to flat down without going back through the primer again, if that makes sense. And then we'll give it a clean down again, and then we can get some base coat taxi black on there. And it should look hopefully alright. I mean, you know, I've got as many stone chips out of this panel in particular as I can. There are a couple still in it where you can just see little divots in the paint, but I'm not going for a show car. Remember, this cab does probably 1,000 miles a week. No, maybe not quite that much, 600-700 miles a week. So it is doing a hell of a lot of miles, and it will pick up stone chips and bits and bobs here and there, so I ain't too worried about it being absolutely perfect as far as a mirror finish, but I'm going to get it as damn best I can. As you know me, I like to do things as best as possible, and at least if you shoot for perfection and you come somewhere close, then it will look half decent. That's the way I look at it. So I'll let this go off dry, do another coat, and then we'll get flatting, and then we can get some colour on. Let's crack on. Rightio, with the bumper now hung up in the air, as you can see, and the front panel still on the stand, I've given them a wipe down with, I've yet to use brake cleaner because I haven't got any panel wipe. Made sure they're completely dry. So we're going to go for the first colour coat now, and hopefully it will look alright. There's a couple of little marks here and there, but I think, as I said, it's not got to be sort of show quality as such. So let's get my mask on and get some black going. And this new mask, I can't smell a thing now, so obviously that old one wasn't sealing around my nose properly. So. I may put a cable tie around that just to make sure it don't fall off that stand, because I don't particularly want it in the deck where I've just painted it. Just put that around that fairly lightly so the paint can still get under it, and if it falls it'll only go so far when it hit the floor. Don't touch that. Right, that is a fairly light dusting, not dusting, but a fairly light coat to start with. I'm going to let that go off, and I think I'm going to maybe move the front panel over here, maybe sort of down this way, because it was getting in the way when I was painting that corner of the bumper. So I'm going to do that once I'll let it dry for a minute, move that, and then we'll give it another coat. I'm probably going to do maybe 3 coats of black, just because it's obviously right on the front of the cab, and it's quite vulnerable, obviously, for stone chips and things like that. There's a fly buzzing. Where's that fly coming from? There's a fly buzzing, man, in there. They better not land on my paint. I won't be happy. Right, I'll let that go off. We'll get a couple more coats on, and then we'll let that go off overnight, and then in the morning we can get the old 2K lacquer in a can on there. Top banana. Rightio, it is the next day. The bumper and front panel are now dry. I've got the old 2K in a can, as I showed you before, with the ring pull on the bottom. You pop this cap off, you pop that little bit of metal out of there, the little ring pull in there, you hook it onto the little plunger in here, pull the plunger out, and it releases the hardener into the lacquer in the can. And this stuff is incredibly smelly. I think it's not good for you either, so make sure you wear a mask with this stuff. It is really toxic. The base coat appears to have all come out alright, which is great. So I'm going to give it a fairly light coat to start with, just to get the lacquer adhered to the base coat, and then we'll go over it again, obviously a little bit heavier. And hopefully it should all come out fine and not have any runs. That's what I'm worried about. Now I'm probably going to fit these panels and then machine polish them on the van, I'm thinking about the van, on the taxi. So they may not be absolutely perfect whilst they're hanging here, but once they're on the cab, and I can, obviously they're fixed then as well, it means I can machine polish them in situ, flatten machine polish them, and any imperfections that I do get in the lacquer I can then obviously get out. So the only thing I've noticed is on this panel here, I've got a little ding in the top of it. I'm not too worried about that really. It is what it is at the end of the day. It's not going to cause any problems or anything like that. So I'm going to get down with this lacquer, and hopefully it should all come out alright. Right, I'm hoping you can hear me. I've got my mask on still. I am really miffed, to say the least. As you can see by the floor, the can of clear lacquer was leaking quite a lot from the very start, to the point where I actually went back to the old can that I had on the van the other day to finish this side off. But I've got a massive run in it where it's dripped on it. It's dripped all over the floor. I am not very happy. I don't know what this is going to come out like. It probably looks alright on camera. It doesn't look, the bumper looks alright, to be fair. Quite pleased with the bumper. There's a few little bits on the top here, but that all sits underneath the grille. That's actually little divots in the bumper where the grille sits on top, so not too worried about that. It's come out alright. The bumper's come out fine. The front panel this side is fine, but this side, you might be able to see it, it's got a massive run in it there where it's dripped on it. So, and it's massively orange peel on this side as well, so it's going to need a good flat and polish. I'm hoping I've got enough lacquer on there. I put quite a bit on, that it's going to be alright to flat it back and polish it. I've got a run on this side as well where I got too close. can probably just about see it there. There's about 3 or 4 drips, 5 drips, maybe 6, I don't know, but it should flat out okay. Yeah, not very impressed with that can at all. As you can see, look at the floor. All those drips on that sheet is all lacquer, where it's been literally pouring at the base of the can. Where's the can gone? Here it is. But that much so that it actually made all the pattern come off the can. It was absolutely pouring at the base of that underneath the nozzle. So yeah, not very impressed with that at all. So I'm going to walk away now, leave this alone, and hopefully it dries all right and we can flat and polish it to a satisfactory finish. Right, it's the next day and I've decided that I'm very happy with everything on it, apart from this side where I went over it with that old can of lacquer and it's got a bit orange peely, a lot more orange peel than the rest of it. Got a couple of little bits of dirt which will come out. What I've decided I'm going to do, at least with the front panel, is actually flat it whilst we've got it here and see what it comes out like, because if it doesn't come out very well, I would have wasted my time bolting it all onto the car and everything else, or the cab I should say. So we're going to go over it with some, I need some better paper than that, there's my new bit of paper, 2000 grit wet and dry on a foam block, and we'll see if we can flat this out and hopefully it'll be alright. It's going to take a little while just to take the surface off, and obviously what you're looking for, if I show you, I don't know whether you'll be able to see it, if I get a cloth and dry that, just that little bit I've just done, I'm hoping you're going to be able to see this. You'll see what I've just flatted is picked up all the high spots. So basically you want to try and get it so that all the high spots blend into all the low spots, if that makes sense. So I'm going to spend a bit of time flattening and polishing this, and when I've done it I'll come back to you and show you the result. Rightio, there we go, that is all flattened and polished. I'm pretty pleased with that finish out of a spray can, considering that's black as well. It is a nightmare to hide anything. That is pretty good. Now on this side, I'm not going to lie, I had to touch up a little bit on that corner there, a little bit on that corner there, and a little bit on that corner there, because when I was flattening it, it went straight through, so there obviously wasn't enough material on those edges, which is obviously the bits you're supposed to avoid. So I did go a little bit close on the edges, and obviously it went through, unfortunately, but I'm not going to repaint it for that. The rest of the finish looks pretty good. You can just see the run, where the run was in it there. I'm not going any further with that. I don't want to risk going through, so that will have to be what it will have to be. It's more than good enough for a working cab. I'm pretty chuffed with that. I'm not going to flat and polish the bumper yet because I can't secure it in any way. So the next job now is going to be to get on the front of the cab, get all the old manky bits off, and get these bits bolted on. Let's carry on. Right, it is absolutely freezing out here. I've got my hood up, I've got my jumper on, and I've got my body warmer on. First thing we've got to take off is the grill, which is held on with two 10mm bolts at the top, and usually it just clips in at the bottom, but I have got a stainless steel cable tie around mine because one of the clips has decided not to be a clip anymore and it's rattled, so I've got to get that off as well. Hopefully I'll be able to reuse that. If not, let's put a new one on. I used a stainless steel one so it'll blend in with the grill and obviously wouldn't rust. Right, that's those two out. Hoping I can just leave this free with any luck. It's one of those reusable ones, so how reusable I don't know. I might have to just cut it off. I don't even remember what I cut. I must have cable tied it around the bottom of the front panel. There we go. There we go. Right, that's that off. Hopefully I'll be able to reuse that because that worked quite well. Right, that's that grid out. That's easy as that. Next thing off is the front bumper. Now there's, I was going to say there's 3 bolts in here, but one of them appears to be missing. There's usually 3 bolts in here, 10mm again. And they're supposed to have a screw that goes through from the behind here into the bumper. This one never had them on there, but the new one has, so I'm going to make sure I put them back. And then all you've got, I think, that holds it on is a 10mm either end on the wheel arches. Oh, I need a Phillips screwdriver to take the wheel, just to loosen the wheel arch line. I'll go and grab one of them and I'll come back to you. Right, 2 Phillips screws go through the arch line, go through the bumper into the arch liner. Now this side of the bumper on this one is already broke, so that's why it's loose here. I'll take the other 2 out the other arch liner. Bit rusted in. Right, that's those 4 screws out. Two 10mm bolts that go up into the wings. That one was already broke because the bumper had snapped. That wasn't really doing anything. Wasn't very tight either. That should release the bumper. Now the bolt's gone inside the arch liner, but I can get that out when the bumper comes off. It actually slides underneath this part of the front panel. It is a bit tight, but it does winkle it out, that's come off. Now you've got to unplug your indicators when you do this and your fog lights, otherwise you'll have wires holding it on. Like that. The foam part stays on the cab, that's separate. There we go, it's the bumper off. It stays on there. Right, now the front panel itself has got a 10mm in the top, 2 there, 1 that goes through the wing there, so 3 on each side at the top, and then you need an extension, and I think it bolts on, remember rightly, there's a bolt that goes up through there. There are 2 under here as well. There's a few 10mm to undo, so I'm going to buzz them off, and then hopefully the front panel should come off. Eagle-eyed among you will notice this has been welded before, not by me, I might hasten to add. This was a second-hand front panel that was on this, and it was already damaged at some point, so that's why it looks like that. These 2 bolts under here have like a little bracket that the bumper rides on that they go through as well. So I've got 2 bolts each side with 1 of them on. Right. Pretty loose now. All we've got left now is a bolt that goes through the front panel into the wing. I'm going to need to go and get another extension for that because I don't think I've got a long enough extension on that at the moment. Got to go right in from there. Right, got me torch so I can see hopefully where the bolt is. Yeah, it's right up in the corner. So I've got another extension bar. Time to shine that in your faces. Right, that should be loose now. There we go, and that is your front panel off. Simple as that. Now I've got to find all the bolts I just dropped. Oh, one of them landed there, that was lucky. Right, so that's there. Where's the other one gone? There it is. So now, basically, it's just a reverse of exactly what I've just done. Front panel goes on first, then the bumper, then the grille. Once we've got all that bolted back on again, then I can flat and polish the bumper while it's on the car. And obviously it won't go anywhere then because it'll be fixed in position. So I'm going to spend a bit of time aligning all this, getting it all put back on. Obviously you've seen exactly how it comes apart now, so if you ever have to do it, it is fairly straightforward. Yeah, so let's crack on and get this put back on and hopefully not scratch anything. Right, there we go. That is the front end of the cab back together. All we've got to do now is give the bumper a little flat and polish. I'm not going to go too mad with it. It actually looks really good out here in the normal light. I'm quite chuffed with it actually. But there's a few little dry areas that I just want to give a little buzz over. Not too much. I don't want to start going through in places, and it looks absolutely fine as it is. So I've had to use a black cable tie on the grille this time, unfortunately, because I haven't got any more stainless steel ones, and that one wouldn't go back together again. So that is what it is. Unfortunately, I may need to get a new grille at some point, but that one's fine for now. So yeah, I'm going to give it a little flat and polish, and hopefully that should be job done. Let's crack on. Right, there we go. That is the old cab back together, flat and polished. Considering that's out of a spray can. You see my reflection as I'm crouching down, look. I'm pretty pleased with that. It's not perfect. It's certainly not factory fresh. But for a working vehicle that's got to look presentable, I've got the run out of this side as well. Can't really see that anymore. I'm hoping you can sort of see the reflection of the yellow cloth. That's roughly where it was. Got that out, and it is looking really good. So I am well chuffed with how that's come out. Really pleased. It's no worse. If you look at the orange peelness on my paintwork on that front panel compared to the bonnet, it's actually better. So that shows you factory paint on a cab is not that great to start with, because obviously it's not a luxury vehicle, it is a working vehicle. So there we go, it's all back together, one piece, no more cracks, no more dents, top banana. Right then, I've come back into the garage. It's absolutely freezing outside now, and I cannot feel my hands, so I've done do an ending to the video in here. The old cab is back on the road where it needs to be. I mean, it hasn't been off the road because obviously we took it off and put it on, but it's all looking as best as it can be again now. I am really chuffed with how that's come out. It's not perfect. I did have to touch in a few little bits here and there, as I said to you before, where unfortunately I went through when I was polishing things on the edges and things where I wasn't quite careful enough, but it is what it is, unfortunately. The cans of lacquer are very good when they work well, the 2K lacquer that is, but the trouble I had with that can of lacquer, with it all dripping everywhere, was an absolute nightmare, and obviously that then hindered me in getting a nice even coverage over all the edges and everything else. Obviously you're always going to polish through an edge sooner than you are on a flat, but it did hinder me a bit on that side of things, so that is why I obviously had a few issues with that. Mainly on one side of the front panel, luckily enough, managed to get the rest of it pretty good. So I'm quite pleased, even though I had a few problems with the paint can and whatever else, it has come out pretty acceptable, I'd say. As I showed you a minute ago, the orange peel effect on the bonnet, which is original, is worse than my paintwork, so I can't grumble too much at that. Anyway, I'm waffling. It is freezing out here and I want to go inside and edit this video for you. I'm sorry it is a couple of days late. As I said to you in last week's video, we are moving house. Don't know when, but there's a lot going on. I'm clearing the garage out, which is why the Lotus is out on the drive, and Mrs. MEC-TEC has been renegated to the road, unfortunately. Is that the right word, renegated? Yeah, it probably is. I've got rid of a load of bits and bobs. Not any Reliant spares I've managed to sell, luckily, so that's really good. I didn't need any more, the extra stuff that I sort of accrued over the time of buying bits for mine and getting job lots and whatever else. So a lot of that's gone now. It is getting a bit clearer in now. I'm hoping that I'm going to do a C1 episode in the next video, and I'm hoping that we're going to get my new rear spoiler form, not new, but new to me, rear spoiler fitted that I've had ever since I bought the car, and I still haven't fitted it. So I'm trying to get all these little jobs that are outstanding, like that front end on the cab, obviously that needed doing for the overhaul at the end of the month, so I need to do that. I want to try and get all these little jobs outstanding done, so that I haven't got parts of everything sort of still scattered everywhere when we have to move, because obviously it has got the risk of getting lost. I know a spoiler can't get lost, but other things, you know. So I'm just trying to do all these little bits and bobs. I've also got, I made up while I was down in the paint shop falling over getting the paint for the cab. I've had some touch-up pen paint made for the C1 wheels, which means we can go around the edge of the wheels and smooth them all out, get rid of all the curbing that was on them when I got them, plus a little bit that I might have added. And we can touch them all in grey again, and it should look really, really smart, and obviously smooth it all in so it'll look nice and sort of uniform, and won't look like it's been run down a million curbs. That's the idea anyway. So we'll probably do that in the spoiler video as well, most probably. Anyway, I'm waffling. If you do like what you see, make sure you do 4 things for me. Please like, subscribe, share, and hit the notification bell. It really, really helps me out on the channel, and I really, really do appreciate it. Thank you to everyone who has subscribed and hit the like button. It is mega. Remember, I've got Instagram, mec_tech1985, and I have got Facebook, mec-tech. For little sneak peeks during the week of what I'm up to. I think I actually remembered this week to put something on there, so that's quite good. And if you do want to join me soon for more automotive adventures, I will see you again next time. Cheers, guys.